Hi everyone and welcome to episode 4 of Conquer the Curse at Benfica with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So domestically speaking, my Benfica side are doing fantastically well. Couple of cup competitions we're through quite easily in the rounds that we've played so far. In the league, we're doing brilliantly well, sitting top of the table, 3 points clear of Sporting, 5 points clear beyond Porto. So you can see things are going very well. In the Champions League, which of course we're focusing on in this season, in this series, should I say, we've done okay. We got a win against Milan, a draw against Sevilla. Then the last game we played was away from home against Chelsea. We lost 2-1, little bit disappointing, but they are a tricky side. Today, we play our home game against Chelsea. Can we cause an upset? Let's find out. So all things considered, I've got to be really happy with the way it's going, haven't I, really? It's going fantastically well. You can see top of the table in the Portuguese top flight, which is fantastic. Everybody's playing really well and rotating in and out. For today, we have that game against Chelsea. Our group stage, if we go to our competition page, you'll see our group stage is going okay. We're on 4 points after 3 games. Chelsea are at top with 7. And then the other two, Sevilla and Milan, both on 2 points each. We play Chelsea again today. If either Sevilla or Milan win that game, it could be a little bit more tricky, but they got a draw last time out. If they could do that again, that would be fantastic. But playing Sevilla and Milan to finish off the group, I think is actually going to be okay for us. I'd like to get a win over Sevilla just from the draw that we had last time. But ultimately, we beat Milan very comfortably before. So I'm hopeful that we could do it again. So I'm comfortable that we'll possibly still go through. It could get a little bit tricky. Can we get anything from today's match? Well, the last game against Chelsea would suggest maybe not. We only lost 2-1, but they were fairly dominant in the game. But this time we're at home and anything can happen. So let's see how we get on. So as we check out the players for today's game, you'll see that they've pretty much all been given a really good amount of first-team football. Our rotated 11 are actually playing most of our cup games for us and occasionally making an appearance in the league as well. So our first team are basically taking care of most of the league games and also all of these Champions League matches, of course. The only one that I'm slightly disappointed in our first 11 is Julian Weigl. Our central midfielder. He's just below a 7 average rating, whereas most other teammates are above that. So ultimately, I'd like a little bit more from him. To do that, I've actually changed the player roles that the 2 central midfield players are going to be playing for today's match. Before now, I've had Mario in a central midfield role with a support mechanism on it, and Weigl in the Carrilero role, just shuttling about a little bit and filling up space and all that kind of stuff. I really like the Carrilero role, but what I realised, because Mario was only on a support duty and because Everton on this side is only on a support duty, ably supported by the fullback, there's not an awful lot of shuttling from side to side that Weigl has to do, really, because he'd just go into other people's space. So I've decided the Carrilero role isn't quite the right one, so I've changed to the central midfielder on the defensive role. I don't want to go ball winning and send him all over the place hunting down the ball. I want him to keep his position, so I thought the central midfielder on defend might do that for me. We'll see. And because of that change, I had, as I say, Mario in the central midfielder role with the support mechanism. I could have kept it, absolutely, but I thought I'd just shift it up a little bit and create a ball-playing central midfielder in there a little bit more. So I've put him in the deep-lying playmaker role on support. So he should still hold his position roughly, but he's got all the attributes needed to be able to be our focal point to then spread the play further up the pitch. So that's the intention for the slight change. Hopefully we can get a better average rating and performance out of Weigl in doing so. The rest of the team, though, playing fantastically well. The only issue that we've got for today's match is that Lazaro, one of our right fullback options, is just a little bit below on his conditioning that I'd like. So I've brought Gilberto in. There's a case to be made, really, that Gilberto is actually doing better than Lazaro this season anyway. So it's not too much of a downgrade. So we'll play him instead. Other than that, everybody else is fit and healthy and raring to go. We've got a really solid 12-man bench at this stage of the Champions League. But our first team for today's game at home against Chelsea in the Champions League is Vlachodimos in goal. We've got Gilberto on the right-hand side. We've got Grimaldo at left-back. We've got Verissimo and Otamendi in central defence. Weigl and Mario in central midfield. Everton on the right. Rafa on the left. And Nunes and Yaremchuk up top. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I don't feel there's too much point in really piling on the pressure onto our players today. We are playing Chelsea after all, even though it's our home. So hands in the pockets is the gesture, fairly chilled out, and just said, we've been on a good run, so go out there and impress me. See if we can get a good performance out of them against a very, very good Chelsea side. As I say, in the last game that we've played recently against them away from home, we did lose 2-1. We didn't really have too much of an opportunity in the game. They did pretty much dominate a lot of it, and you can see that they've got an extremely good starting lineup. So there is a reason why they're currently sitting top of the table, but I'd back us against pretty much everybody to give them a good game and see if we can be at least competitive, excuse me, and see if we can get a couple of chances ourselves, especially early on. If we could get off to a good start early on and not go down too early, then hopefully there's something for us in the game. And it looks like we start with a highlight 2 minutes in, and we tried to go over the top, I think, for Yaremchuk potentially to get on the end of it. Didn't quite work out, and Chelsea win the ball in their goalkeeper claims it for them. And that's unfortunate because it means the highlight continues and it's now Chelsea on the attack instead very early in the game. We need to hold out here if we possibly can. We're trying to win the ball back. We're closing them down a little bit. The ball goes through to Lukaku, who holds it up, switches out onto the right-hand side. James out there. They're going to get a decent chance for a cross in a moment, you'd feel. There it is into the box, and they've walked it into the back of the net, really. It went into the Lukaku at the top, at the near post from where the cross came in. He swiveled and actually just put it across the 6-yard box very cleverly, really. It was a good bit of play from Lukaku. The ball from Kante into him. He holds the ball up very nicely. And Havertz, using the shield of the player around him as well, because he was 2-on-1 with a defender then, just dropped away from the defender, got a little bit of space, and really just swept it into the back of the net. There was nothing the goalkeeper could do about it. And again, they've broken through. This time, James, we're very fortunate. He had to take it too wide, tried to still put the ball in the back of the net and hit the post. And then we managed to clear it. But again, a second time in the first 10 minutes, our defensive line is broken. Like they're not even there, really. It's not really the start I was looking for. Milan go 1-0 up against Sevilla as well. So that's an interesting result so far for us to watch. Ultimately, it's about what we do here, though. That was an interesting camera sweep down the pitch, but eventually we caught up with play. Mendy again claims the ball and again sets Chelsea going in their defensive unit, but they won't be there long. Havertz in midfield already, drops in and gets involved in the play. We then do brilliantly. Darwin Núñez wins the ball back fantastically well, charges into the box, was really kind of not under too much defensive pressure, and then unfortunately couldn't put it on target to actually make the goalkeeper do some work and blast it over the top of the bar. We're in the game if you look at the statistics in terms of shots created and chances that we've actually put on target, etc. And the XG rating's not fantastic for us, but it's not dreadful. Little bit low on possession, maybe. There was a good free kick there from Darwin Núñez that did bring out a save from Mendy. He parries it out for a corner kick. It looks like we are still in the game in a lot of ways, but the scoreline, unfortunately, doesn't quite reflect that just at the moment. A little bit of pressure here, though. Last few minutes of the first half, we've had a couple of goes off a corner kick. That one hits the crossbar, and Chelsea sweep the ball clear in the end. So we are putting a little bit of pressure on to finish off this first half, which is not too bad. But we do find ourselves 1-0 down at half-time. 10 shots at goal, 6 on target for us, 7-2 for them. So you can see we've had more on target, more created, but our XG rating, the expected goals from the chances that we've created, is not as strong. So Either we're weak in front of goal in terms of we're not actually just taking some good created chances and actually doing well with that, or the chances that we create aren't particularly good in the first place. Either or, that's the bit of the game that we need to figure out. A little bit more possession would be good as well. We're only on 39%. I guess ultimately it's not necessarily about how much you have, it's about what you do with it, and we could do better with ours, but we are still competitive. We're still in the game. So let's see how we can do to make this team better in the second half. We're going to pump the fists. So we're going to try and rile them up at this point. We owe Chelsea from what happened in the last game. Get out and get revenge. Why not? Let's just wake them up a little bit. We'll go into the shouts. We'll fire them up. We'll send them out for the second half. See if we can get a more in-your-face kind of performance, just a little bit. See if we can win the ball back slightly earlier and counter-attack on them a couple of times maybe. Immediately, our XG rating soars up. So we've had a good chance potentially in this second half, but we didn't quite manage it. Here's another one. I have got a bit of an injury issue that we're going to have to sort out after this highlight as well that we'll have a look at in a second. Chelsea win the ball back and we try and get it back again. Please don't send him off. Oh, we sent him off. Oh, that's my doing, isn't it? I riled them up at half-time, chucked them out there and told them to have a go, and Weigl has gone in on a midfielder badly and has been sent off for it. So we've got a couple of things we need to do here. First off, Rafa has got an injury, potential lower leg injury, and he is being hampered by it. So we're going to have to take him out. So we'll put Radonjic in. I'm butchering that name, I'm sure, but we'll bring him in on the left-hand side. Then we have to figure out what to do in this central midfield area. And the only thing we can do, really, is we're going to take Yaremchuk out and we're going to put Maita in instead. We'll bring him into that central midfield role. And we will play him. I think we will play him as a ball winner, I think, possibly, just to see if we can get a little bit more around the ball and just see if we can go and win it better. And we'll just bring Núñez slightly more central and leave that as it is for now. So disappointing, isn't it, that we've had a player sent off in a big game like this? But it kind of was my fault. I do see that what I asked them to do, they kind of went out and did. They just didn't do it particularly well. But there we go. Chelsea have now got the man advantage. They've got the goal up as well. This could potentially cause us all sorts of problems. But we do always have this guy, Darwin Núñez, on the break. If there's one person that we could get a couple of chances to in the second half, it's him. And if we get him one, you never know. He could take it. It's about what Chelsea then do on the counter-attack. Maita getting in and charging down the ball a little bit, doing his ball-winning position. Rolled pretty well at that point, but there's the ball through. We hook it away, but it goes straight to a Chelsea player again. And that's the problem we've got so far, it seems. We're not able to retain possession particularly well, even before we went down to 10 men. Chelsea have a corner, head the ball over the top of the bar on that occasion. But yeah, possession-wise, we're not keeping hold of it. We're up to 41% from 38, 39% in the first half. So that's not too bad. A little bit of an improvement there, but we need to keep the ball slightly better. At 69 minutes on the clock, we're going to pause the game and just make a couple more one more substitution, because that's all we've got left, just for fresh legs, really, more than anything else. I mean, we've got some underperforming players. Unfortunately, in a big game like that, you want the likes of Mario and Everton to show up, and neither of those have. So because of his nervousness as well, we're going to take Everton out. We're going to put Diogo Goncalves down that right-hand side. Just see if we can get him playing better as the second half wears on. So we've got 20 minutes left. We're up against it, aren't we, really? I'm not expecting an awful lot from this point on, really, if I'm totally honest. I think Chelsea will just pile on the pressure, and eventually we could break again. But so far, twice we've sorted them out on that particular set of highlights. And again, Núñez breaking clear for us, counter-attacking, runs the length of the pitch, and then doesn't really have a ball that he can palm off to somebody else, unfortunately. There was nobody there. These are the moments when you get a set piece like that, the delivery has to be good. It was pretty good. We got the header onto it, but ultimately it went over the top of the bar, unfortunately. But those are the moments that we have to actually make the most of, aren't they, really? And on that occasion, we kind of didn't again. We're still having the chances. We've got a similar XG to them. We've created more chances, put more of them on target. The possession stats are low. I don't feel like we've been blown away by Chelsea, although they could potentially still get a second goal for the game and make it look a little bit better than it was. But with 10 men, it's not actually a bad performance. Can we get one chance? And here we go with the chance, and Nunes puts it straight at the keeper. Was he offside anyway? He was offside anyway, so we'll give him that one. We'll let him have it. But ultimately, kind of need him to put it past the goalkeeper when you get there. 2 minutes left of injury time to play. The time's ticking by. We're going to lose this one 1-0. There was no point in me going hunting for anything more than that in terms of going ultra-attacking and stuff. They would have just carved us open had we done it. It's not a bad result in its way because of the fact that we got a player sent off, because we're a slightly lesser team anyway, let's face it. I don't think that's a terrible performance. The result is a little bit unfortunate, but the XG rating is fairly similar. As I say, chances created, we did brilliantly well. We boosted the possession just up a little bit, not quite enough maybe, but enough to see that we actually competed. But ultimately, Chelsea still got the 3 points, and we'll go check out what happened in the Sevilla-Milan game and see what impact that has on the group stage. So Milan did get their win over Sevilla. It jumps them up into second place in the group stage. Unfortunately, it knocks us down to third. We still play Sevilla next and then Milan last off in the group stage. So we've still got it really in our hands. If we can take good points out of those two matches, then we'll still go through. You'd imagine that Chelsea will continue to pretty much dominate this group. But the rest of us, I do feel, are pretty much on an even keel with each other. So anything could still happen. I'm quietly confident, but it could still go wrong. We'll see. But so far, it's actually not going too badly. I think that previous game against Chelsea that we've just had, considering we had a player sent off, I think we did pretty well in a lot of ways. So up next for me is Sevilla. That's the next game in the group stage. But you and I will come back and finish it all off by playing Milan in the next episode. And by then, we'll know exactly what we need to achieve. And hopefully, we'll be in a position to qualify from this group and continue on in the Champions League. That's going to do it for today. I will continue to keep moving forward domestically and see if we can stay in the cup competitions for as long as we can using our rotated side and keep moving forward in the Premier Division and seeing if we can dominate the likes of Sporting and Porto. That would be fantastic. But you and I back together next for Milan. So until then, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That will help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.